Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Sociology with Mahima. Today we are going to understand one of the most important ideas in structural functionalism, Radcliffe Brown explanation of why social structure is a reality. This concept is central to social anthropology and sociology. So let's break it down in a very simple and clear way. To begin with, according to Radcliffe Brown, social structure is not something imaginary, and it is not just a theoretical concept. It refers to the real living network of social relationships present in a society. Think about all the relationships we interact with every day. These are not imaginary. They exist in reality and they guide how people behave with each other. Now, to understand Radcliffe Brown clearly, we must distinguish structure from culture. Culture refers to belief, values, customs, symbols, norms, mostly ideas or mental constructs. Social structure, on the other hand, refers to the actual patterns of interaction, who relates to whom, in what role, and in what pattern. Radcliffe Brown considers social structure is a reality because it is observable, organized, relatively stable over time, and constrains behavior. This is why he says social structure is not just an idea, it is a real framework that shapes and limits human behavior. Radcliffe Brown belonged to the structural functional school. This means he believed that every part of social structure serves a function. So, for him, social structure exists because it performs essential functions for the survival of society. Let's understand how the concept of social structure developed historically. Herbert Spencer was the first sociologist to use the term social structure. But remember, Spencer did not give a complete theory of social structure. He used the term only in general, descriptive way. So what exactly did he contribute? His major contribution was the organic analogy. Spencer compared society to a living organism like the human body. Durkheim strongly criticized many of Spencer's ideas, believing they were too biological and not sociologically enough. But interestingly, Durkheim accepted Spencer's organic analogy. He believed society behaves like a complex organism with interdependent parts. Durkheim then introduced a new term, social morphology, the study of structure of society. In simple words, he was studying the shape or form of society, similar to how a biologist studies the structure of living organisms. Durkheim's social morphology is what we today call social structure. Durkheim went beyond Spencer and gave a more scientific and sociological explanation of social organization. Radcliffe Brown was deeply influenced by Emile Durkheim. Durkheim's idea on social solidarity, collective conscience, and internal societal structure shaped Radcliffe Brown thinking. Durkheim believed society is more than just a collection of individuals. It has patterns, order, and rules that exist outside individual minds. Radcliffe Brown adopted this fully. For him, understanding society meant studying its structure, not just culture or individual behavior. Radcliffe Brown named his perspective the structural functional approach. Structure refers to the network of social relationships and functions refers to how these relationships contribute to continuity and stability. This framework became highly influential in anthropology and sociology. Although earlier scholars used the term social structure, Radcliffe Brown was the first to define its rigorously. He sparked a major academic debate by arguing that social structure is not imaginary. It is not about culture or ideas. It is the actual real observable pattern of social relationships. One of his earliest contributions came from his fieldwork among the Andaman Islanders between 1906 and 1908. His famous book, The Andaman Islanders, is considered one of the first works to apply the functional approach systematically. He showed that customs, rituals, and institutions serve specific social functions that maintain social order. Throughout his teaching career, Radcliffe Brown emphasized the primary task of social anthropology is to study social structure. To understand any society, we must understand the pattern of relationships that connect its people. Culture may change, but relationships form the skeleton of society. Radcliffe Brown believed social anthropology should be understood as a natural science of society. In 1948, he said, social anthropology is a theoretical natural science of human society. Just like physics studies matter, or biology studies organism, anthropology should study society with scientific rigor. He believed The discipline should rely on direct observation, patterns in behavior, verifiable data, and comparative analysis. In 1952, he made one of his most famous claims: social structure are just as real as individual organisms. For Radcliffe Brown, society is not imaginary. Social structure is not just mental or cultural. It is real, objective, interconnected system. It can be studied scientifically. He also insisted on separating the concepts of individual and person. The individual is a biological organism, while the person is defined by a network of social relationships. A person holds many positions. Each one is social personality. Persons are understood through structure, and structures are understood through persons. This interconnectedness creates a living system of social order. Radcliffe Brown breaks social structure into two main elements: interpersonal or dyadic relations. These are person-to-person links such as mother-daughter, teacher-student, and husband and wife. These dyadic relations form the backbone of social order. Second is differentiation of roles. Differentiation occurs by gender, caste, age, occupation, authority, kinship rules, etc. This shapes who relates to whom, how they relate, and what rights or obligation they have. Together, these create the entire framework of social structure. Radcliffe Brown defines social structure as the set of actually existing relations at a given moment of time which link together certain human beings. It is real, observable, measurable, and empirical. Radcliffe Brown believed anthropology should work like natural science. He separates two ideas: social structure and structural type. Social structure refers to the actual real existing relationships in a specific society. This means it belongs to a particular society, it exists at a particular time, it is based on a direct observation, and it is empirical. While social structure is specific, structural type is abstract and general. It is the pattern or model that we get after comparing many societies. This is what scientists call a generalization. Structural type is general, stable, relatively invariant, not tied to one society, and built through repeated observation across societies. He compares society to a living organism and social structure to the arrangement of organs. He explains that a human body grows, changes, ages, but it remains recognizably human. Similarly, a society changes, but a core pattern of relationships remains same. He calls this dynamic continuity. Thus, social structure is data and structural type is theory. Radcliffe Brown believed sociologists and anthropologists can arrive at general laws of society by using these 4 steps. Step 1 is intensive study of a society's social structure. Radcliffe Brown starts with a very scientific mindset. Before making any generalization, you must deeply study one specific society. This is done through field work, direct observation, interviews, participation, and standard anthropological methods. The goal here is not to understand individuals, but to understand the network of relationships, the actual social structure as it exists on the ground. Step 2 is the abstract the structural type. Once the real social structure is understood, the next step is extract the general pattern from the specific case. This is what Radcliffe Brown calls structural type or structural form. You remove all the specific details of one society and pull out the core organizing principle. Step 3 is compare this structural type with other societies. Now comes the comparative method, the heart of Radcliffe Brown's scientific approach. You take the structural type you identified and then compare it with similar structural types found in other societies. Look for common patterns, discover similarities and variations, test whether the pattern you found exists universally or only in certain cultures. This comparison must be systematic, logical, scientific, and strictly controlled. The purpose is to check whether the structural type is unique or part of a broader universal pattern. Step 4 is arrive at the general laws of society. After comparing structural types across many societies, the final goal is to formulate general laws of human society. These are invariant propositions. Radcliffe Brown wanted sociology to be like the natural sciences. Just like biologists discover universal laws of life, anthropologists should discover universal laws of social life. These laws helps us understand how societies survive, how social order is maintained, and why certain structures evolve over time. Radcliffe Brown defines social structure as real relationships, but this raises a deeper question. If structure is what we observe, then what is society? And if social structure is already what we observe in the field, then are we studying society and discovering its structure, or are we actually studying structure directly? This confusion lies at the heart of Radcliffe Brown's theory. To explain, he uses the analogy of a seashell. Step 1. Pick up a shell. You look at its shape, design, pattern, curve. Now a basic question arises. Are you studying the shell itself, or are you actually studying its structure? Step 2. Compare shells of the same species. When you collect more shells of the same species, you notice that all shells of this species share a similar structure. Now another question arises. Do similarities come from species or structure? Should you compare the structures of all shells to identify the pattern, or should you simply assume similarity between they belong to the same species? Step 3. Compare shells across many species. Across many species, shells share a general structural pattern. This raises a final conceptual confusion. Are you comparing species to find structure, or are you comparing structures to find structural type? The analogy reveals confusion. Radcliffe Brown shifts between studying societies, structures, and structural types without clearly separating them. This is why his theory is considered brilliant yet conceptually challenging. With this, the class ends here. If you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more sociology related content. Thank you so much for watching.